Good morning and welcome to another episode of Sped Everyday. This is your girl again, Bolatito Fatoki. I'm so glad to be here this morning and I'll be talking about prompting. What is prompting? Prompting is one of those evidence-based practices that has worked for our kids with disability. It is one of those that I use in the classroom, I use it at home, I even use it for myself. It's just a kind of reminder it's an action from you or a reminder from you to let another person know what to do. For example, we walk into a classroom and I'm trying to prompt my student or one of my students that needs prompting on what to do next. So is it like I use verbal prompting depending on the level of the student and what I usually use with the student. I can use verbal, I can use gestural, I can use physical. When I say verbal, it means that I'm going to say it like this is what we have to do next. Or if it's gestural, it can be the child is used to me pointing or maybe just looking towards what it is, and then the child would know what to do next. And it can also be hands over hands or modeling. Maybe I need to model it to the child. And when you use prompting, it's something the child is used to. It's something the child has to understand. It's like I always say, you need to communicate with the child. You need to understand the child. You need to make sure that you're prompting your child the right way. So prompting is what you use regularly to remind a child of a task, how to do a task, or what to do next. And this usually works with reinforcement that we've talked about before. Like, for example, you're trying to prompt your child. Maybe your child is washing the dishes, and you're trying to remind the child that, okay, you need to put the soap first on the sponge. Prompting is what you can use. By looking at the child or by saying, oh, soap, or by bringing the sponge and the soap together and modeling it to the child. So prompting is also you can use it in assignment. You can help your child learn by prompting them. For example, I have this. So when I want some of my students to write, they can use this as a prompt. So when they're stuck with the assignment, I can say, okay, you're writing the assignment, you stop. Look behind you or go, and the child looks at them and says, oh, I forgot to put my punctuation. That's what prompting does. So when we work with our kids with disability, we have to ensure that we don't just leave them alone to do the task on their own. We need to use a model. We need to help them understand that we're with them, we're working with them, we understand them, and they're not just left alone. And prompting allows us to have a direct contact with our child. It allows us to be in their lives. It allows them to also know what we want them to do. It could be maybe they are in line for something, and we just need to model it. And when we're prompting, I also need us to understand that because sometimes we will not be there. So we need to know how to fade prompting or to move from one kind of prompting to the other. So let's say this child have been using verbal prompting. There's some places that maybe later on you get to and you may not even have the opportunity to talk. So from verbal, when you realize that your child understands that part, then you can change prompting. So it can be from verbal, then you move it to gestural, or from physical, that is hand over hand, you can move it to verbal, then from that to gestural, so that the child can move from one level to other, because we're trying to work on independence here, so that at the end of the day, the child will be able to do that task without you having to prompt. And also for prompting to be effective, let's think about reinforcement. We should try and reinforce a child. When they get it, like I remember when I was young, or even till now, and I go somewhere with my parents and, when they don't want you to eat over there, and the person is asking you, oh, baby girl, are you going to eat? Then you look at your mom's eyes and she's like, that's prompting. I better know not to eat the food. So that's what we do regularly, but now we have to be conscious about it so that we can use it effectively with our children or our kids with exceptionalities. Thank you for listening to me today. See you next time, next episode. And remember, do not forget to email me at spedeveryday@gmail.com. spedeveryday@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and we'll always be there to answer your questions. Thank you so much. God bless you. It's me, Bola Titofatoki. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Bye.